Good afternoon. I think it's still afternoon. We'll go with that. Yes, good afternoon, true believers. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy belated holidays and New Year's. Hope you guys had a wonderful time. Was really had this the reason behind this today is recently had gotten a Polar Loop 24-hour activity monitor, and it traded in my Nike GPS watch for a TomTom Multisport GPS watch, which included a Bluetooth heart rate monitor, because I have some goals this year, and one of them is to take swim lessons and hopefully do a couple of triathlons. So my training needs to upgrade itself. I need it more than a running watch. I was fortunate to be able to trade in the stuff I previously had to get these. So thank you, Craigslist. So I recently had posted that I had the Polar Loop. I've had it about a week and a half now, and a lot of people have asked me my opinion on it. And I've never really done a review because I don't really consider myself a pro athlete, or I barely consider myself an athlete. Gonna be really honest. But a lot of people ask me, and answers like this, I never want to give someone a blow off quick answer to something, because people are talking about investing money, and I kind of want to give them what I've learned of the product so far. Not to say it's an end all be all deciding factor, but at least you have some information involved. And I really just want to talk about the Polar Loop, but I needed this as an example. So this is the Polar Loop, and inside nice little box. It comes with some tools, as well as, because it's a very large thing to measure your wrist. Use this to measure your wrist, and the old adage, measure twice, cut once, couldn't be more true. And you've got a little tool that'll help you put the clasp onto, I'm going to show you as soon as I get this in there, the clasp onto the Polar Loop. And it's a nice sturdy clasp. There's a clasp, you see. Clicks in like this, push down. You've got this from the side to open it. Open up, same thing. So it's very easy to put on, close, you're good. You take it off, good to go. That's really the hardest part, is you unbox it, you kind of need to go through that maintenance before you really get to use it. So the nice thing, the market is getting flooded with activity trackers now. Anywhere from like my old Body Media you wear on your arm, to Fitbit has the Force and the Flex, I believe the names. Those are the more wrist centered activity trackers. And a lot of people are trying to get, I think there's, if you ever like one on Facebook, you'll see an ad for every single one of them when they're in the beta test phase, on your ads thing on Facebook. And you don't believe, there's tons of people crying, and I think it's great. I think depending on your walk of life, wherever you are in your fitness journey, I think it's wonderful when you have that many choices, because you're able to find one that is going to suit your needs and suit what you need, instead of just a out of the box cookie cutter. If you don't fit in this mold, you kind of have to work some stuff around to make it work. And that's a wonderful thing, from a fitness standpoint, as it was to 10 years ago, where you just had, if you wanted to run, you got these huge bulky GPS watch, and if you didn't, you had an app on the phone, and that was kind of it. And that was pretty much what you had to work with. So one of the reasons I did the TomTom Multisport, in case you can't garner by the name of the pictures here, it does your running, it accurately balances, does your treadmill or indoor track without needing a foot pod, which is huge. Bicycling, and it is waterproof, so it does do your swimming. The wonderful thing about the heart rate monitor is it's Bluetooth, as opposed to the ANT plus technology. And the Bluetooth just means like, if you download an app on your phone, it uses Bluetooth technology. You're able to use that for that app as well, for a fitness app. It's also interchangeable, just like the ANT plus, with any other Bluetooth reading technologies. And that's what the TomTom is. And the nice thing is about the TomTom, also like the one button thing, but again, this isn't about that. So, and I'll get back to that, why I have this out. The nice thing about the Loop, with it being a 24-hour tracker, is and like I said, the technology is always evolving and changing, so I expect to see the technology moving forward in this direction over the years. But for the most part now, activity trackers just track your basic walking movement, and that's it. They either track you not moving, or they track you moving. Now, to the beginner and I'm trying to, I'm phrasing this correctly because I don't want to exclude anybody or make anyone pro one product or the other because I just found something that works for me. If you're in the beginning fitness, sorry, getting over sickness, by the way, nice little stomach bug, uh, and some congestion. If you're in the beginning part of your fitness journey, first thing you should be congratulated on that because that is huge. That's not a small thing, and I congratulate you because I'm coming up on my 4-year runnerversary, as I like to call it, in April. Um, Things like the Nike Fuel Band, things like uh, the Body Media Fit, things like the Fitbit are great for you because they're not going to overwhelm you with a bunch of stuff you don't need to know. They're really going to basically tell you how many steps you should be taking, how many steps you took, how many calories you burned um, throughout the course of the day. And that's going to be if you take you jump in a Zumba class or you do some spinning or you walk, you go on lunch walks or different things like that. And that's key because I think that knowledge is what helps to propel you to the next level of your fitness journey. And it's a journey we're all on in different stages. It doesn't make someone better or worse. It's just we've all been beginners, and as a beginner, the worst thing you feel like you don't have is information. You feel like everything's sort of a guess, which makes it a little bit stressful for me at least because you're trying to guess something. And if you use websites like MapMyFitness, use websites like MyFitnessPal, another aspect to your 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 training is the non-cardio side. I'm someone I've talked about this that a lot of my weight came off, a lot of my 80 pounds came off when I added serious weightlifting plan to my training. Ironically enough, it's the Man of Steel workout. It's the one that Henry Cavill used for Man of Steel. Figured he kind of looked Ike, so I might as well do the same thing. And I loved it until I tore my glenoid labral and my labral muscle in my shoulder and biceps tendonitis. So I'm kind of on the shelf for just 2 more weeks, and then I can lift again. But I'm still getting my cardio done. Sorry, Man of Steel plug. So if you're someone that's in the beginning, I recommend a lot of those things because they're going to help you track when you moved, when you didn't move. Polar Loop, totally different level. And for someone like myself, I think it's great because in the process of a day, it is not only going to tell me how long I slept, which a lot of the new ones do, which I think is a good thing. In my case, it's able to just let me know I really don't sleep a lot, but I knew that anyway. Um, how long I was laying down, how long I sat down, how long I didn't move, how long I walked, and how much I did strenuous workout, which I've never seen a tracker do that. It gives you all of that information in the course of a day, course of a week, course of a month. So you're getting more of a detailed breakdown as far as how your calories are being spent, how the hours of your day are being spent. And a lot of times you might be shocked to realize just how active or just how inactive you really are in the course of the day, not just when you hit the gym. Which is great because now you're getting, I think when you're at that level, more knowledge gives you more control, and more control gives you more success. So that's a wonderful aspect. The Polar Loop also is waterproof. I say that being yesterday after a nice little 4 mile run, we were at our local Y and went in the pool, family pool with the girls, and I knew it was water resistant. I wanted to test it out, and it's water resistant to about 30 meters, and played with it all day in the water, not a problem. Chlorine, everything, perfectly fine. I've showered with it, but first time I really got a chance to test it. And again, this will be nice when I'm taking my swim lessons. So the other thing about this is, which is a wonderful aspect, is this reads your sessions with a Bluetooth heart rate monitor. So this brings me to my TomTom heart rate monitor. And I'm going to show you just how easy this is. So I've got my TomTom, and I go down to sensors, go to the heart, and I turn off the heart rate monitor. Okay? Turn off the heart rate monitor. So now I've got my TomTom, and I touch it just near this. And the great thing is, sorry, trying to do it a little low. There you go. You see tells me I'm in fat burn. So the great thing is When you do that and it syncs up, it's now starting a workout session to whatever you want to do. So whether that's lifting weights, swimming, running, basketball, yard work, anything, that's what it's tracking. And the way to end that session, simply enough, if you're at the gym, especially ladies, if you have on a heart rate monitor underneath and you don't really just want to flash everybody, just take this part of the blue, which is the tracker part of it, of the heart rate monitor off, or if you're like me and you don't really care if anybody sees you, just take the whole thing off. It stops tracking. So now when I plug this in or have it sync to the phone app, it'll automatically show that session. It'll show calories burnt. It'll show, and the great thing is yes, it just shows a generic session, but it gives my heart rate information, so I can go in and change to say what it is I was doing, whether I was swimming, whether I was running, whether I'm playing basketball. There's obviously the standard choices. I think kayaking was even one of the options on there to give you an idea. So that makes it easy to keep track of in the course of a day, not just seeing, and still have my watch on, keeping track of things like obviously distance and pace like that, but even on the polar side, I can put in the number of miles I put. So it all works together to give you a complete package. The other nice thing is, and let me go through the menu. So it shows you active. That little bar fills up throughout the day. So to active tells me to go. I could jog for an hour and 18 minutes, walk for 2 hours or 57 minutes, or just get up like off my butt for another 10 hours. There's calories I spent through the day, steps I've taken, the time, obviously, and those one. You just keep tapping it. It's very simple. It's not like you got to push down really hard. So that's the wonderful thing about it, is that now the flip side is, say I'm at a race. It advises you in the book, since it's a Bluetooth and most everybody's wearing a Bluetooth, or at least someone in a crowd. Give an example of running my last full marathon, the postcard that I'm on. There's 700 racers, as opposed, or like Derby where there's 18,000 racers. Odds are somebody around you has a Bluetooth, so you probably would want to start tracking this before you got to your corral where everyone's around, because Bluetooth, just people, other things it'll pick up someone else's monitor. The nice thing is the information, when you look at it at either Polar's personal trainer website or the Polar Flow, which is in beta, which is just for the Loop, you're able to look at this in very detailed. Again, if you're a beginner, someone in the beginning of your fitness journey, this is great because you can just look at the basic information of, I sat down for this amount of time, I laid down for this amount of time, I was active this amount of time, I was very active this amount of time. And if you're someone that's looking for detailed, specific information, from heart rate to, what your average heart rate was, to the mechanics of figuring out how many steps you took, to the mechanics of how many miles you ran, and everything else involved, you have that information all in front of you, which is a nice change of pace from most other activity monitors. The other thing is, so when you plug in, and I have it upstairs, the USB cord, it actually connects magnetically in this 4-prong thing. Clicks in, plugs in, syncs up. If you have an iPhone, because the app is just for iPhone now, it'll be coming to Android in March or April. You'll see, and it just did it here, and I'll include some screenshots, but it's syncing with the device, with the service, and it tells you today what I've done. And if I scroll up, by the way, today is an off day and cheat meal day, so don't expect to see a bunch of stats on here. But you see the breakdown, and I'm going to include screenshots of this because it's hard to see, but those little bars right there, you're able to see. There we go. You can kind of see where it's got walk, run, percentage things you do, suggestions of what you do. Rough night last night, told you not feeling well, so there's not a lot of sleep involved here. And because I'm not wearing it and press the button, it didn't sync with it, which is a nice thing. Inactivity alerts, which is kind of cool. If you've been sitting down for longer than an hour, you will get an alert on your phone telling you need to get up. Put in weight, put in how do I feel. So like I said, this will give me, I can go to training summary where I've got some training from the past few days on here, and I can click on one training session and it'll show I spent 21 minutes in the fit zone, 1 minute in the fat burning zone. Basically, if you're getting up and moving, you're in the fat burning zone. It's when you get up to high intensity exercise, you get to the fit fit level of your VO2 max and other fancy technical terms, which some people may care about, some people may not. But if you do, this has the option of you're able to look that information up as well, because it keeps track of it with any Bluetooth heart rate monitor. So whatever, if you already have an existing Bluetooth heart rate monitor, this is going to be perfect. Another aspect I was reading about is I believe Polar has the H7 heart rate monitor, or they have one that's waterproof or water resistant. I guess nothing's really waterproof. Water resistant as well, that if you're someone that really wants that mechanics and metrics of when you're in the pool, if you didn't have a waterproof watch like I do with the TomTom, you're able to take a look at that information and see how much energy you spent there, because obviously if you're swimming, you're burning a lot more calories. The wonderful thing about using your Bluetooth connection is weight training, which is what I had talked about earlier. You use MapMyFitness. If you put in weight training, it overestimates by hundreds of calories how many calories you've spent. And again, if you're a beginner person, you're not someone that lifts all the time, you almost are lulled into a false sense of security. And if you use MyFitnessPal, if you put in strength training, it doesn't give you calories at all, which is a gross misunderstanding, because I've said this once, I've said 100 times. You do an hour of cardio, for the next to 90 minutes after that, your body will continue to burn fat. If you do 60 minutes of hard weight training, I don't mean 3 minutes in between sets talking on the phone or standing around or whatever, but if you're doing hard training, for the next 24 hours, your body's going to continue to burn fat. But to say that if you did it, you had no calories spent at all is sort of insulting to the person who's working hard. But I'm someone that when I hit before the shoulder tear, I tore my glenoid labral and have biceps tendonitis. Got 2 more weeks until I can lift again. I can just do light treadmill, no incline, no outside running. But it's before I was doing cardio and weight training. So having a true representation of how much of the calorie burn, not because I just want to go eat the calories I burnt, but just to understand fully what I'm doing, is better part of training for me. Now that I'm escalating to moving into cycling and swimming for triathlons, having that information is only going to help me understand what I'm going to need for triathlons, just as much as when I was doing, because I'm not done, but just like training for the 26.2 miles, understanding my breathing, understanding my VO2 max, understanding my pace per minute, was what was important to me. Understanding how many steps I took when I ran 5 or 6 miles means absolutely nothing to me when I'm training. It doesn't. I'm gonna hit 10,000 steps in the course of a day. I just am. That's just how I am. Understanding how I got there, understanding what my body feels like when I'm hitting those peaks, especially if my heart rate is hitting that 180, 200 phase, how long I can keep up that VO2 max is key to me. Is things I need to know when fatigue sets in, when lactic acid starts to build up in muscles. Same thing with weight training. Those are things I need to know to understand that, to make myself a better athlete all around. So overall, going back to what I said, that's why I said if you're looking for that next level and full understanding of your activity day, because you're supposed to wear this 24 hours, you obviously, and if to charge it takes all of 10, 15, if you went from a 0 to like a 10% left, and it'll tell you battery low, it'll tell you to charge it when you go to press the button to look at something. And the nice thing is, it doesn't take that much time to charge it back up to 100%. So you're supposed to wear it all the time, shower, everything included. The nice thing is you get a true overall representation of what calories you're spending throughout the course of a day. You get a true representation of when you're at the gym, if you've got a Bluetooth heart rate monitor, of what you're doing. Now, it's not to say this will still read that you're expending more calories in certain spurts, but if you wanted this information to see that particular session as far as your heart rate, not just you took more steps at that time. And again, like I said, weight training is a perfect example. You may not take a lot of steps during weight training, but obviously your heart rate is going to, if you're doing it properly, is going to get elevated, and you're able to see that information to see, okay, what exercises got me really pumping, and keeping track of what you're doing. If you're using a workout plan, I highly recommend this. I do think I want to try, after I do take some swim lessons and finally get a bike and get a chance to use this on all three disciplines, not just running and like I have, to give you guys an idea of how well that works. But the Polo Loop, like I said, it just sits on here. It's not heavy. You don't really notice it at all. The nice thing is, you're able to bring all this up. And the nice thing is it shoots off little fireworks and tells you goal when you've hit your goal. I'll include some screenshots of both the Polar personal trainer website as well as the Polar Flow website, and what it looks like when you hit goal, and the phone app as well, because like I said, it's kind of hard to see with the lighting on a computer video to really differentiate that as well, and you're able to take a look at it. If you have any questions, always let me know. Until then, until the wheels fall off, have a good one.